Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, May 9, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that for the most part a ridge of high pressure is dominating the entire Atlantic basin, sending a lot of easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean, not to mention dust from the Sahara Desert. If we take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see those low-level patches of clouds, not to mention dust, moving from east to west in that easterly flow of winds brought about by that high-pressure ridge. And we can also see those high-level clouds being streaked off towards the east by that wind shear. Lots of cloud cover right now across portions of the South American continent. Lots of cloud cover, thunder showers as well. We'll be talking more about the rest of the weather across the Caribbean later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's post on our Twitter page. It was stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of northern and western Jamaica on Tuesday afternoon. And what ended up happening, a post was made late this afternoon highlighting some clouds bringing some overcast skies and isolated thunderstorms across sections of some northwestern parishes. So sections of maybe Westmoreland, Hanover and St. James might have gotten in on some of that, if not overcast skies, some isolated showers or isolated thunderstorms. And if we take a look at the latest visible or infrared satellite images, let's refresh that page quickly. We can see that yes, we indeed have had that isolated thunderstorm activity indicated by those sparkling white dots across sections of maybe Hanover, and it went offshore, and even the Doppler radar images showing all of that rainfall as well right there off the coast of Hanover. Taking a look at temperatures for tonight, we can see that we have 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and as the night progresses these temperatures should be getting lower. We can see that for 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday, both the Euro and the GFS models are showing that Jamaica is embedded in some slight yellows into gold shadings, almost orange shadings, that indicate at least 1 to 3 degrees Celsius above average temperatures. And what are the average temperatures for the month of May? About 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And on the thermometer, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the equivalent of about 32 degrees Celsius. So if we should be getting anywhere from 1 to 3 degrees Celsius above average temperatures for Jamaica for Wednesday, we should be getting anywhere from, let's say, 32 to 35 degrees Celsius at most. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see that by the key at the bottom that indicates the driest air in reds and whites, Jamaica is on the low end of that. We see Jamaica embedded in some yellows, even some blues in there that indicate moist air. And we see that the driest air is right there off the coast of Africa, associated with the Saharan dust. Speaking of Saharan dust, we can see that the brownest or the darkest shades of brown associated with Sahara Desert and the dust associated with that. For 2 p.m. on Wednesday is right there off the coast of Africa. We have some Saharan dust coming into the Caribbean, even making its way into section of Jamaica for tomorrow. It won't be as robust as what we've had in previous years, but it will be there. We might see some hazy skies here and there, and it might even be good enough or dangerous enough to trigger some respiratory illnesses in some persons. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we have anywhere from 1.5 meter wave heights or less surrounding the island, as indicated by both the Euro and the GFS models. And that's due to the fact that we'll be having more of an easterly flow of winds tomorrow. The greens indicate an easterly flow anywhere from 10 to 20 knot winds. So we're indeed grateful for the windy conditions to cool down the place somewhat. However, where does all of this air pile up? Where do we have the least amount of winds? The amount of winds are indicated by the blues, and that's right there across inland areas of central and western Jamaica. And usually when we have that, we have those low-level clouds being pushed from east to west and then building up in the afternoon hours, becoming thunderstorm or cumulonimbus clouds. And then what usually happens is that we get the wind shear, and the wind shear seems to be coming in more from the west southwest for tomorrow. So just like what we had today with that afternoon convection across northwestern Jamaica, then when they became thunderclouds, they were being pushed off towards the northeast by that upper level winds. Something similar could happen for tomorrow, and it seems to be possible for northern Jamaica, especially because taking a look at the precipitation forecast for tomorrow, we see that 2 to 3 p.m. on Wednesday, we see both the Euro and the GFS models are showing blues that represent rainfall across those various spots. So sections of northern and western Jamaica could get in on some of that rainfall. So anywhere from St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, even some western parishes, maybe it could include Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth as well in that. Okay, so try to bring your rain gear so that you're not that drastically affected by the weather that is coming your way for tomorrow. Anywhere from around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that's the time that is expected across those spots. And the accumulated precipitation forecast is in consensus with what the 1 hour totals are showing. I know that when we have consensus or agreement on both maps, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. And we're indeed grateful for the rainfall that we've been getting thus far. Considering that May is our secondary rainy season, we usually receive up to 213 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to try to put a dent in the drought. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So for the most part, the heaviest weather is right there across portion of Cuba, where you have that buildup of afternoon convection. Not to mention sections of Colombia, Venezuela, French Guyana, Suriname, and Guyana as usual. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can see that we might have had some 1 or 2 passing showers, but it's nothing drastic. No imminent threat, no tropical waves, no troughs, no cold fronts at this time. Just 1 or 2 passing shower. We could have seen that we had some amount of rainfall right there across portions of northwestern Puerto Rico, maybe even sections of the US and British Virgin Islands as well. Even off the coast of Barbados, not across Barbados, but it may be areas west of there, so maybe the Grenadine Islands, maybe St. Vincent. You can see some line of rainfall going into those small islands right there, and we can see some 1 or 2 passing shower to the north and south of Barbados. Nothing imminent or drastic at this time. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see a lot of rainfall right there across portions of Cuba associated with the afternoon convection that they received today. And we can also see that rainfall across portions of South America, so Venezuela, not to mention Guyana, French Guyana, and Suriname as well. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we have some below average temperatures right there across portions of the Eastern Caribbean on the GFS model. But the Euro is showing more above normal temperatures across those spots, even although the waters to the east of Trinidad seem to be getting in on some of those cooler than average air temperatures. However, majority of the Caribbean basin is seen embedded in some above normal temperatures, anywhere from, let's say, the British and US Virgin Islands westward, Hispaniola, Cuba, the Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, portions of Florida, portions of Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast, we can see lots of hazy weather and hazy skies, lots of browns that indicate that across majority of the Caribbean region for tomorrow, maybe getting in on somewhat of a break across the far eastern Caribbean, anywhere from Guadeloupe slightly southward, but we can still see some hazy weather or browns that indicate Saharan dust across Tobago, Trinidad, portions of Barbados, sections of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico as well. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing that we have some amount of above average wave heights, maybe 2 meter wave heights or slightly above that, to the far eastern Caribbean, not to mention to the far southern Caribbean, so to the north of Colombia, to the north of the ABC Islands. And that's due to the fact that the strongest wind will be right across those spots as usual, as indicated by the yellows that represent 25 to 30 knots right there. And some of those winds might be gusting to that length, maybe up to 25 knots across the waters to the east of the Caribbean, as to why those wave heights might have been so high. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, or all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday, we can see that there's some consensus in some amount of rainfall being predicted for portions of Cuba, portions of the Bahamas, sections of Hispaniola, so including Haiti and the Dominican Republic, sections of Puerto Rico, not to mention sections of the Eastern Caribbean right there. So it's a bit more robust than the GFS, but we do see some amount of rainfall across portions of maybe Dominica, maybe even sections of St. Lucia right there, even getting into sections of Martinique, even in the far southern Caribbean. We see some amount of rainfall right there, even up to 2 to 3 inches possible for portions of Colombia and Panama, portions of western Venezuela, sections of Costa Rica getting in on some of that rainfall as well, maybe even spilling into sections of eastern Nicaragua and eastern Honduras. Taking a look at the western portion of the basin, we can see some amount of rainfall right there across portions of Texas, eastern Mexico, and central Mexico as well. Maybe some slight rainfall across portions of Belize, Guatemala, and western Honduras. I know that when we have consensus on both maps, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.